Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you so very, very much for being here. I really appreciate it. You know, it's very special that you all take some time, a few moments out of your really busy lives and the things that you have going on to spend a little bit of time here at Soulprint. So thank you so very, very much for that. My donors, oh my God, thank you so much. Your generosity. I appreciate it so much, and I say this every single time. It humbles me that you would, just take some of your hard-earned resources and send them my way to keep, this channel, etc., floating along. So I thank you very, very much for that. Anybody interested in a private reading, there's an email address in the drop box below. Just send me an email. That's soulprint888@gmail.com. Send me an email and I'll send you the information you need. And as of right now, I actually have a couple of limited openings for next week, for this coming week. And then I'm into, the very end of April and into May. So there's lots of availability at this time. Okay, here we go. It's Friday and it's kind of been one of those weeks. Oh my God, like what a week it has been. You got Trump going back to New York to being deposed by Tish James. You've got, the debacle with Fox and not turning over evidence that's going on. And that trial, I believe, starts on Monday, and that judge isn't horsing around. They're saying they're going to seat juries that day, and they want to hear opening statements. So that's going on. It, you know, it, Bill Bragg is suing Jim Jordan because Jim Jordan's too stupid to know how to back off and not do something that is not within his power or his purview. So there's that, right? There's just been a lot. The week has been very interesting. And then, of course, oh my God, let's not forget Clarence Thomas. He's in a big cup of doo-doo. He is. So one of the things that I want to look at, and of course you had that judge who kind of sort of pulled back the approval on the FDA approved abortion drug, except then he put so many restrictions on it. And now the Justice Department is, I guess, I guess it's the Supreme Court, to tell them what ruling they're supposed to listen to, because there's all these different rulings popping up around the country. So there's just a lot. You know what? I think today I want to take a look, a bit of a deeper dive at SCOTUS, because they have been coming under so much fire in the last few years. They have gone from, I believe it was a 75% approval rating to like 49%. That's not a good thing. And yet they still are determined to keep that secret sort of cloak around what they do and how they conduct themselves. Because aside from this whole thing with the land deal, and Clarence Thomas, which broke sort of a federal law, they're not held accountable to anything or anybody. And that's always dangerous. Okay, I don't care who you are. There needs to be accountability. And particularly when your approval rating has absolutely gone into the toilet, maybe you should reconsider how you're doing things. So you know what? That's what I want to look at today. Let's take a deeper look at SCOTUS and see what we can expect. It's unfortunate that the Republicans have still not figured out, or perhaps just the MAGA Republicans, have still not figured out that for example, the abortion issues and the gun issues, those things are not going to be left unchallenged. They're just not. That generation and those generations that are coming up behind us, man, they don't put up with no crap. I know. I have two daughters that are Gen X, and let me tell you, they don't put up with crap. So you multiply that by millions and millions of people between the ages of, I don't know, 20 and 29 or something. And wow, that's a lot. And they're getting involved on political levels, the likes of which, probably we haven't seen in forever. And of course, red states are freaking out and trying to find even more ways to prevent people from voting. I guess one of them, wants to now raise the voting age to 21 because God forbid all those like university students should have a say in what goes on. All right, let's take a look at SCOTUS here, shall we? I'll quit rambling on. I guess the question is, are they going to change? Or are they just going to stay in that really tight sort of lockstep position they're in now? Here we go. SCOTUS moving forward, SCOTUS moving forward, SCOTUS moving forward. What are they going to do, pray tell? Let's find it. The Tower. So clearly right now, they recognize that they're in trouble, that their very foundation, and it's not even, it's not the foundation, it is the cloak of, I can't think of the word, sorry, my head went blank. That cloak of you can't ask us anything. We truly are above the law. Nobody can double question us or double check our work or, look at how we conduct ourselves. Totally irrelevant. Well, you know what? That is blowing up under their faces because not only this is a thing, right? Okay, so Clarence Thomas, is currently, being spotlighted, if you will. But is he the only one that's being investigated right now? It kind of makes you wonder, right? Where else there might be some skeletons. And I think that the justices recognize that this is a dangerous, dangerous moment for them because the people of this country, of your country, are demanding transparency and accountability. And more, they want to know, and they want to know how to fix what is going on in the current court system, that rulings have apparently, in my opinion, become incredibly, incredibly partisan. And because of that, there is even more accountability being demanded. That's where we start. Okay. So what they've been sort of allowed to get away with, that sort of make hay while the sun shines, do what we want because nobody can question us, that's in the past. That is coming to an end, a close. Because again, the corruption, the dark money, the shenanigans are all starting to bubble up. I mean, you've got Sheldon Whitehouse. I know he's looking at the Clarence Thomas thing, but he's still going really hard on Kavanaugh. It's about the money. It's always about the money in the United States, I swear. But you have a Supreme Court that is considerably more corrupt in the opinion of the cards than you realize. But that is going to come tumbling down. There's going to be resistance to that. And listen, between now and then, don't be surprised if, more information comes out. Don't be surprised if there are new names thrown into the mix of Supreme Court justices and what they are and are not doing. It looks like there's simply more information to come out. What's happening is they're getting their options cut. They don't have any options anymore because you know what? They've sort of blown, if you will, the illusion of being impartial, being nonpartisan, being, the interpreters of the highest laws of your land. Now they've just become, sometimes it appears sort of like maybe talking puppets for some big donors who want them, to sort of look at things from a certain perspective. And so that's what you have. That's what you have. So where do they go from here? Well, where they go from here is you've got this Page of Cups followed by the King of Cups. Okay. So what you've got here is news continuing to come forward, messaging continuing to come forward, and the crown, the court, has now found itself in very sort of unstable water. It has now found themselves sort of the focus of attention in a way that they don't want attention. And they think that if they are sort of cruel and aloof and steadfast, people will back off. Those days are gone because the tricks, the illusions that they created about their own ability to be impervious to the laws of the land, to the the interpretation of law that doesn't have dark money and big name donors' fingerprints on it. All that's starting to crumble. It's being exposed, and it's not going to be one that falls. Okay, it's not just going to be one who is being investigated. Because what you have is the truth is determined to come out absolutely one way or another. Oh my Lord. And when it does, these are the next three cards. Five of Pentacles, Judgment, the Devil. Okay, so where is this taking us? As more and more information continues to come out, this is the thing. I think Clarence Thomas could very well be sort of sacrificed by the court trying to save its own self. Kind of like when a wild animal eats its own paw to escape, so it will sacrifice the paw for their freedom. I wonder if Clarence Thomas might not be one of those paws. And listen, they are going to resist with everything they have, having him leave because of, the sort of supermajority almost that they have with that Supreme Court now. But you know what? I don't think it's going to work. The judgments are going to be harsh and people are going to not put up with it. I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes, maybe, towards the end of this year, maybe like this fall and throughout the spring, if you don't, so spring of 2024, if you don't see some real significant pushback going towards the way the Supreme Court conducts itself and behaves itself, because there is just, it's just not going to work. This is the thing, and this, when I did the last reading or the reading before, And I talked about, that generation of kids who are coming up. So these are the generation of kids whose moms, their reproductive health care was not questioned by anyone, and the decisions they made were not questioned. Certainly not by the government. I mean, yeah, maybe they were questioned by the family or the doctor or whatever, but not the government. Government has place, no place on an examining table of any woman. It's just as simple as that. They just shouldn't be there. However, so between that and a generation that has grown up in, active shooter drills, for God's sake, for those people who have lost friends and family because of the decisions that are being made now, that generation is not going to just take it lying down. They're not of a generation, 3, 4 generations ago, even 2 generations ago. You had that sort of, well, the law is correct. We don't question it. Doctor's always right. We don't question that. If somebody with more experience than me is telling me that this is the way it has to be, well, I guess that's the way it has to be. Man alive, these guys do not think like that. They don't. And it's like, if you want something to be that way, you need to explain why and what benefit it is to us and why we should support that and why you aren't doing things in a way that is more in line with the way we think and feel. So the pushback continues and continues and continues. It's going to be about everything, but it's going to have a significant impact on court decision. Courts in particular are coming under fire because that is where ultimately these decisions are made, right? I mean, somebody can sign a, 6-week abortion ban in, but then there's always going to be somebody that challenges it. And ultimately that always seems to end up in a court. And what's happening is people are becoming less and less tolerant of the extremely partisan decisions that are being handed down by the court, and particularly lawyer or judges who, come directly from that Federalist Society. Not all, but a significant number. All right. So I think for SCOTUS, I'm sitting here, I'm just going to reshuffle the cards because I want to see if I can get some clarity on what the bench looks like in 6 months and 12 months from now. Like, who's not on, who is on, are there new justices? Let's see what we can find out, shall we? So I know that a lot of readers talk about Amy Coney Barrett and her sort of longevity, kind of on that throne, if you will. And I have to tell you, when I look at the courts, who I see going next. So I think that at some point, Clarence Thomas is going to be sacrificed. And he's going to all of a sudden decide he needs to spend more time with his family. Or perhaps, he has this ulcer that's causing him trouble. He needs to just step back now. I think Alito could very well be one of the next areas of real shakeup that we see. And listen, I keep saying that the first one that leaves is going to leave sort of disgraced. But the next one after that, I see leaving because of health reasons, but I don't see it as female energy. I see it as male energy. And listen, I'm not saying that Amy Coney Barrett is perfectly healthy and she stays. I'm not saying that at all. I wouldn't dare to question other readers and their energy of what they see, because God knows, we all access information from the same place. We just sort of, I guess, look at or focus on something a little bit different. But so let's say they're right and I'm right. We're looking at 3 very conservative judges who may end up being replaced for the 2024 election. And that's the other thing. That Dianne Feinstein out of California is sort of like needing to pull back. She's not available. She's had a series of sort of bad health incidents, but she's not available to um, be making votes on the judicial committee or whatever it is that oversees the appointing of just judges. So there's only a 2-seat kind of margin when it comes to the votes in the Senate, and she's gone. So that takes you down to a 1-seat advantage. And, all it takes is somebody a little bit more conservative who says, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to. So she needs to step back so they can get somebody in there who can start getting the voting done and get these judges in place, because apparently there's a whole backlog of them that are not getting approved because she's not in her seat to make that vote. Okay. Hi. The dog. Do you want to say hi again? Hold on. There you go. Say hi, everyone. Yeah. Okay. How about you get down? Thank you. Keep the learning networks watching. Okay. I'm not gonna. I think I'm just gonna direct channel here because there's now a couple things I want to look at. Okay. First of all, let's show me who is likely to leave or not leave their seat with SCOTUS. What is that looking like? What's the immediate energy around that? Okay, so definitely they're showing me Clarence Thomas walking away with his sort of head bowed. If he had a tail, it would be tucked between his legs. So that's sort of the first one I'm seeing. I am seeing a male conservative justice who is leaving because of health. And it doesn't feel like, oh, this has been a problem for a long time, or he's fighting this, it feels like sudden and shocking. Okay, so there's that. And yes, I think Amy Coney Barrett is going to have some sort of an issue in terms of her ability to stay on the bench. It definitely feels like by the end of this year, there's going to be at least 2 new justices on the Supreme Court, with another one to follow early in 2024. What's the story with Dianne Feinstein? Like, she has shingles now, which is no laughing matter, and heaven knows she's not exactly a spring chicken. There is a growing group of people who are encouraging her to step back. Just step back. Okay. So that's going on. I guess the question is she going to? Well, she's definitely getting a fair bit of pressure. You've definitely got people who have announced that they're running against her, other Democrats who are running against her coming forward. I don't even know if I think she's actually said she's not going to be returning for another term. Is she going to step down before her term is finished? That's the question, yes or no? Yes. Somebody has to figure out a way to make her to be able to do that, sort of where she saves face. Because right now she kind of feels like she's being, run out of town on a railroad. But it feels very much like they're going to be able to convince her that the best thing for her health, and the country is for her to step down and let some of this sort of business that needs voting business that needs to be taken care of be taken care of. Now, I know apparently she was making a request that asked if somebody could temporarily step in and sit her seat so that the voting can happen. Um, and that may well be part of what I'm seeing, but I definitely seeing that she's going to step back prior to the end of her term. Okay. Is there anything Spirit wants us to know at this time as we move forward and, prepare for next week? So they're saying it's going to be a lot of fireworks with the whole Fox News thing. Don't expect this thing to start on Monday. I think at best it'll start on Tuesday. It sounds like Monday is going to be taken up the full day with jury selection, or a significant enough part of it that that it feels like they're going to want to start fresh on the next court date. So there's that. It feels like there may be some information with regards to the deposition that Trump just did that gets leaked or exposed. If not later today, over the weekend, early next week, but there's something going on there. I loved the fact that Trump was greeted with the whole thing of New York hates you. I presume that may have been in reaction, well, just to hate him, but it could have been also in reaction to the ridiculous story he told about people crying when he went in to surrender, to 34 counts of, criminal behavior. Nobody was crying. Nobody was crying. Don't forget that video of when he was walking in the court. That one girl couldn't even be bothered to hold the door open for him. I don't think they're crying. But anyways, so he sort of got a little bit of his comeuppance there. What else do we have? They're showing me Biden, and they're showing me sort of the sun behind him. And so he will continue to do what he needs to do to move things forward in a way that he feels is best for the country. And again, it feels as if as we move forward, particularly over the summer, it just feels like his star starts to rise a little bit. Maybe it does have something to do with, the shovel in the ground infrastructure stuff that he had going on. I don't know, but it feels as if he sort of continues to gain momentum. And finally, Jim Jordan is going to get rapped on his knuckles for his behavior. It's not going to get him anywhere. He is putting such a black mark on that particular committee, and he is damaging his own self and his own reputation. But again, he has sort of a few skeletons in his closet, and I think that part of what's going on there is he's just trying to figure out how much information he can gather from places he shouldn't be gathering it from. So that's what I know. Wow, this has gone on long. Okay, so once again, thank you so very, very, very much for being here. Until next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.